Radio Changalo, restoring everything in Christ with love and truth. Good afternoon. With the main news, I'm Patrick Mupeta. The headlines. Kitwe residents expressed mixed feelings over the ongoing administration of drugs against lymphatic filariasis. Low turnout characterized voter verification. Zambia national women's team midfielder star Mary Mwakapila ruled out of the squad. And now the details. Kitwe residents have shared mixed feelings over the ongoing administration of drugs against lymphatic filariasis, commonly known as elephantiasis. The drugs are being administered from all the health centers in Kitwe and public places in an exercise which began yesterday and will run up to 15th April 2021 on the Copper Belt. And in a random interview with Radio Changalo News from Chimwemwe Clinic today, the residents charged that there is less publicity over the exercise, saying they are not aware whether it was also the vaccine for COVID-19. Others, however, spoke on the importance of taking drugs against elephantiasis.
So kuti one for mwezi wa tulimbi ni filefia covid bi neverland muchingiriwe na covid
batishamu nako mbona fefile na babika mu picture batishamu nako jina no shasha nasha fefile na bana baletera ngo shishira kubaletera
zakani mikira mu mubiri mu mone mwatwala sura tulenshaka kujafini panti yo ubere tabashiko
And a check by Radio Changalo News at Sokone Market in Kitwe has revealed that the price of onions is sharply increasing, with consumers expressing concern. To buy one onion is fetching between 3 kwacha and 5 kwacha respectively. Some traders have attributed the hike in the price of onion to the increase in the order price, which they said was now pegged at 300 kwacha per 10 kg bag. They have since called for a favorable trading price, especially among cross-border traders.
udula mpaka chikuli shumi akatwaleshta onion twaleshta pali 90 kwacha na 120 nomba inosha tuleshta pali onion pali 300 na 350 inosha onion ina idula tuleshta kasaka 300 na 350 twaleshta 90 kwacha na 120 na pali fidi mo kuli onion nomba twalaika shani twalashta shani twale unkwaso kwe watso onion fina ma borders bake nyoko watse ama onion yale ingira ifintu free from outside pe ingira muna chetele kama rwele dimbi pileisa so muno muzambia tamwa wafamini ya onion tulewa da 5 kwacha tutatutu.
Moving on, as the ongoing physical voter verification exercise comes to an end today, low turnout has continued to characterize the exercise in Chingola's Insansa ward. The development has worried area councillor Benson Bwalia Tonge. Speaking to Radio Changalo News in Chingola, Councillor Tonge is however calling on residents to verify their voters' cards details before the exercise closes today.
Nokuyashita verify ama voters card yeso twalembeshe tatulefwaya nga bayisana ino tukambe okuima okutira tachitire verify ama voters card yeso last minute tailefwaika kusamkula okutauka. So I'm appealing to you that through your own busy schedule just spare us with 20-30 minutes so that you pass through the polling station where you vote from to verify the details or the particulars of the voters card.
In other news, President Edgar Lungu has donated 800 by 12.5 kilogram bags of millimil to freedom fighters and taxi drivers in Kitwe's Chimwemwe Township as Easter gift. Chimwemwe Member of Parliament Mwila Mutale delivered the commodity on behalf of the President this morning at the constituency office. The beneficiaries who could not hide their joy hailed the President and area Member of Parliament for the gesture, saying more initiatives aimed at improving people's lives should continue.
Nokutusunga omutende uyu emutima ushiri wakuleka kairi kyozeka mupera ba MP wesu turapokerera kupitira muri ba MP wesu baona lepo bamunda
ngwainde kwa byokutotera kuri ba president besu ba Edgar Chagwalungu basitu bale tubombera kuno kuchimwemwe kabiri ndeko kutotera kuri baona lebo ba Mwila Mutale as the MP kuno kuchimwemwe tulototera sana kabitu bale yakwa banabanchiwa bamkamfuirwa notubungo tune tuletwakwirisha mkwai ngepo bale bomba baona lebo Mwila Mutale ndetotera kuri bakateka wetu pato bale takamona baana lebo ba Mwila Mutale bale bomba kuchimwemwe constituency umutima wao bakwete batwalire panti bali pato
And speaking to Radio Changalo News in an interview, Chimwemwe lawmaker Mwila Mutale said the Millie Meal being distributed was meant to cushion people's suffering brought by the effects of COVID-19 pandemic. Mr. Mutale said the gesture of such nature from the head of state would continue in Chimwemwe and other parts of the country, targeting the vulnerable people.
Edgar Chagwalungu nekwaikere panshe na timu y'abanandi kuno basachimune cyane ko bati fix extend this Easter gift from the president to the freedom fighters timitengo kwa fintuna tia pamulu so to cushion that we thought that we should extend this gift from the president to especially wala kwa watu wa flash weso wa this time around because the consignment date together so we're going to extend also to a selected number of taxi drivers. Among taxi drivers, is one category that needs assistance because I'm a business.
Pope Francis is inviting Catholics around the world to pray for people risking their lives by standing up for fundamental rights. The Pope made the appeal in his prayer intention for April, released on Tuesday. The network also released an accompanying video in which Pope Francis explained the rationale for the prayer intention. According to the Catholic news agency, speaking in Spanish, the Pope said defending fundamental human rights demands courage and determination. President Edgar Lungu has today submitted his nomination papers at the PF Secretariat in Lusaka ahead of the General Conference to be held this weekend. He is vying for the position of party president and paid 10,000 kwacha nomination fee to PF Secretary General Davis Mwila, who also verified his documents that he was eligible to stand. And Luansha Member of Parliament, Luansha Mayor Nathan Chanda has advised PF members who want to contest as members of the Central Committee to weigh themselves first. Mr. Chanda, who is vying for Ron's seat, said the PF Central Committee is the highest decision body of the party, which is chaired by party president, who is also the Republican president, Dr. Edgar Chagwalungu. Mr. Chanda was responding to queries by some members of the party who wanted him to contest as member of the Central Committee ahead of the PF General Conference. He, however, said that he was content with his position as ex-officio of the Central Committee. This is according to a media statement issued by his media team. Let's take a look at what we have in our sports today. Zambia national women's team midfielder star Mary Mwakapela has been ruled out of the squad, which is scheduled to compete at the delayed Tokyo Olympics in Japan this summer. National women's coach Bruce Mwape said Mwakapela, who plays in Israel, has never been well since Chipolo Polo returned from Chile in November last year. Mwape said it will be tough to find Mwakapela's replacement ahead of the Olympics Games. And Mwape has told journalists in Lusaka that playing friendly matches against South Africa and Kenya this month will be helpful to Chipolo Polo step up preparations for the Olympics. This news broadcast comes to you in the community service of Radio Chengelo with compliments of Moose Milling and Go TV Broadcasting Zambia Limited. And now international news as monitored from the BBC. Authorities in the northwestern Nigerian state of Kaduna says gunmen have shot dead at least 8 people and injured a number of others in a series of attacks on villages. Kaduna State Commissioner of Internal Security, Samuel Arwan, said in one of the attacks on Tuesday, the armed men blocked a major road near Kadenya village, opening fire on a bus and truck carrying firewood, killing 5 people. Some reports indicate abducted during the attack. The BBC has more.
Its highest number of daily coronavirus cases, crossing the 100,000 mark for the second time in a few days. Here's Joe McGivery.
Almost half the new cases are in the western state of Maharashtra. Shops, bars and restaurants there have been forced to close this week, despite some protests about the economic damage. Reports from the state's main cities suggest hospitals are struggling to cope. There's anecdotal evidence of new, faster spreading variants and more young patients, including children. The general surge in cases across India is causing alarm and putting pressure on the central government to speed up its vaccination program. Government officials largely blame the public for failing to wear masks or observe social distancing.
Shops and services are reopening in Hungary as the country relaxes coronavirus restrictions despite a third wave of infections. The Prime Minister, Viktor Orban, has also shortened an overnight curfew. Nick Thorpe is in Budapest. Big changes really for Hungarians. Shops which have been closed for months will be allowed to reopen. There are some restrictions within the shops, no more than 4 people in a smallish shop at the same time. But it's a big change for Hungarians who've really been locked down since the middle of November. And of course, some non-essential services like hairdressers also reopening today. Basically, the Prime Minister, Viktor Orban, said that when Hungary reaches 2.5 million vaccinations, which was sometime yesterday, out of a population of 9 million, he said he had a moral imperative to reopen the country.
We now end Radio Chengelo main news by taking another look at our headlines. Kitwe residents express mixed feelings over the ongoing administration of drugs against lymphatic filariasis. Low turnout characterized voter verification. Zambia national women's team midfielder Mary Mwakapela ruled out of the squad. For these and more stories, colleagues, you can visit our Facebook page. Log on to Facebook and like the Radio Chengelo page and link to radiochengelo.radio12345.com. Thank you very much for listening and thank you very much for following us on social media. This has been Patrick Mpeta with the main news. Good afternoon.